Welcome back, guys, to another video at Gustav's Republic. Hope you all doing great. I'm here taking my nicotine gum, drinking coffee. It couldn't be better. It's a Saturday, feeling absolutely fantastic, having this tunnel vision, having some books, reading some more books. Currently reading Sigmund Freud and Civilization and Its Discontents. Great book to understand more about civilization and why we're acting in a current way. So today I'm gonna talk about my mushroom trip, my first ever mushroom trip, where I actually took over 7 grams of mushrooms. And how did I know that I take 7 grams of mushrooms? Well, I weighted my shrooms, and afterwards I could have seen that I've taken out 7 grams of mushrooms from my box. So I will take you back. So this was about 5 years ago. I was 19 years old. I was a young boy in my hometown in South Sweden. So I had bought shrooms from a website called tatanka.nl or Samnesia. And I literally grew it myself in my room like this. So it was quite funny. I was living home at my dad's house and I grew my shrooms here on the counter. And I couldn't even sleep in the room because it had to be so warm, so I couldn't even sleep in my room to be able to grow mushrooms. So I had them standing on my desk and had them grow so that I was able to indulge and take my own mushroom trip. So after some weeks, they were done growing, and I could finally try out shrooms myself. I always wanted to try it. I saw on YouTube you can get a bad trip, and I wanted to try it because I was into spirituality, studying philosophy from a young age, and at that time I was also studying philosophy at university. So when it was done growing, I had to dry them as well. So I literally bought a mushroom dryer to be able to dry the shrooms that I grew in a box. You got like a box and you could grow it from the box. So I got about 20 grams of dried shrooms. So 20 grams of shrooms, there's a very nice trip if you take all of that in one sitting. From what I have read online, you should not take more than 3 grams because after 3 grams, you start hallucinating, and it's called a heroic dose over 5 grams. So, what did I do? I tried 1 to 2 grams to begin with, and it took up to 1 hour. I just sat in my living room like this, like, why is nothing happening? Then I started playing music, and suddenly the music was starting to become louder and louder. I'm like, what is happening? And then it was summertime, so the sun was beaming. The grass is the grass was green, the leaves were green, everything was vibrant, and was just the perfect place to actually do shrooms. Because I lived in a neighborhood where it's very safe and not a lot of people, mostly like forest area, close to the sea, so I could also go down to the sea. So I took 1 to 2 grams, and I was like, "Ooh, the music is starting to sound different." It has gone like about 50 to 60 minutes from there, and now everything started to change. I'm like, "What is happening?" And I got this urge just to go outside. I'm like, "I have to get into nature. I have to get into nature." So I had to go outside, and I started walking outside in my village or in my neighborhood. It's a very suburban area with like just houses everywhere. So people perhaps thought I was crazy. But when you take shrooms, you become like a child again. I was literally just laying down in a park like this, just looking at trees. I'm like, I'm one with nature now. It was such an amazing experience. And like a child came up to me. I'm like, I was laying down like this under a tree, and a child came up to me like, hello. And I could literally feel the energy of the people because children, they have pure energy. They actually care about other people. They don't have the dark energy. So I could just sense the energy like, oh my God, hello, how are you doing? I think they can also sense my energy because I can feel everything. Because when you take shrooms, like what I understood is that you become part of the whole. Like everything, you're connected to nature directly. You understand that everything is one and everything is energy. So that's why, yeah, it's really an experience. So I was laying there, the children came up to me, and I started walking out to like a farm area. I was walking on this field, barefoot on this field. Barefoot, I was grounding, it's called. And I became one with earth as well. I felt like a plant. I was like part of the earth. Like I felt part of the earth. And I could literally hear the car noise just far away. I'm like, I need to get far away from this energy. This energy is very, very destructive and negative. I have to get away from this. Because when you're on that amount of shrooms, you start feeling other things. So before that, I actually went back to my house. I'm like, this is crazy. Like 2 grams, like I'm feeling amazing. I'm just happy. Like the flowers and the trees are like talking to me. Like it was like a different feeling, but I wasn't hallucinating. It was more like the vibrant energy. Everything felt better, and you're part of nature. So I went back to my house, went to my box, and like just started eating from the box. Literally, yes. I didn't wait like I did when I started my trip. And this was perhaps 2 hours after starting. So I was just taking from the box. I didn't know how much until afterwards, how much I actually took. I'm like, this is great. This is gonna be great. So I just took and took and took. I'm like, yeah, now we're gonna have a nice trip. And then I went outside again. I went to the field again and barefoot. And I was walking on the field barefoot. And it was like a little hill. I'm like, this is the perfect spot to lay at. I just lay down in this hill with grass and bees everywhere and just, closed my eyes. And now things started happening. I'm like, the sun, so you can see these three, it's like three emblems in the air. Like when you take your, it's three emblems in the air. You always see this pattern, it's three emblems. It's like three like this. You can see it in the air. You're like, what is happening? And then when I when I stood up, like you can go into different universes. When I closed my eyes, I was in a different universe because I things were happening. I saw patterns and I saw the sky. And things were happening, and then I went out on the field again and started walking. All the trauma came back from my life, from childhood. I had to meet all my demons, all the traumas that happened in my life. I met on that field, in my mind. You cannot run away. You literally have to face all your demons, all your traumas inside of your head. So it's not even external, it's internal. All your past trauma, you have to face it. So I had to face all my trauma on that field. I'm like, what is happening? So much things were happening at once. And I had to face all my fears and demons on that field, and I did. So then, for some reason, like time stopped, and like time was an illusion. I didn't know about time. I didn't know what time it was. I was just walking. And like when you take shrooms, you're like, I don't want to look at my phone ever. This is not natural. You want to be part of nature. You don't want to be part with your phone. So I'm like, I'm never looking at this phone. I couldn't even understand it. Like, what is this? This is not natural. And then after I faced my fears, my trauma, my demons, I walked back. I'm like, I need to get back home. I don't know why, but I had the urge, like, I need to get back to my house because otherwise I will do crazy stuff. I didn't know where I was outside, not far away from my house, but like I had urge like get back to the house, get back to the house, get back to safety, so I don't jump out a window or get get hit by a car. So I was walking back home on this field, and now the plants were jumping like this, up and down, up and down. The grass and the plants were jumping up and down, literally higher than me. I'm like, what is happening? And then I was walking, boom, 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 by kindergarten. I could feel like their energy, like ah, ah, ah. You can feel that energy. You can literally feel the energy so much. Like this is pure energy. Then I saw like adults walking past me. They looked me in the eyes, and because when you take shrooms, you're not afraid of anything. You look anyone in the eye because that's natural. You're supposed to look each other in the eye, and you can feel the dark energy just coming inside of you. Like they're judging you. They have this negative energy. They portray on you. So you don't want to look at that because you get a bad trip. That's why you should do this in a safe area and not outside alone like I did. So I walk. I went into this forest area and I started singing. I like, I became creative all of a sudden. I was not a creative person. I started singing. I feel like I can sing now. I never knew I could sing. I started singing. I made a song. Started rapping, and then the trees were like jumping. It was like a music video. The trees were jumping, and I could see like faces and symbols inside of the forest area. I'm like, this is amazing. So then I walk past the forest area. It's just a very small area. Walk past it to the road that leads to my house. Went out to the road, and literally I was like closing my eyes, and the car, it would come a car towards me. The car was like this, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, what? Oh my god, I'm gonna die. So I closed my eye, I was in another universe, and the car was like this, boom, boom. I'm like, I'm gonna. But then I opened my eyes for that moment and just held to the road, like held to the side. Don't catch me, don't catch me. And he didn't catch me. So I just get to the house, and like time was an illusion. So I didn't even know, I didn't understand like how long it would take because time was an illusion. Time stopped. So I didn't know, okay, how long time will this take? So I walked, and when I was closing my eyes, I went in another universe. So things were happening simultaneously, crazy stuff. But somehow I got home. I got into my house, locked the door. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write things down because, like, what is happening? I wanna understand. I wanna remember what happened. So I sat down in my living area, like my living room area, and just lay down, like sat down like this. And I had like art everywhere around me. In that house, I had a lot of art, and the art started moving. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? The art started moving and talking to me. And it was like two faces. We had like statues with faces. I had to like turn them around. Like they are attacking me. They're looking at me. What are they doing? I just sat like this, literally. And I started feeling my skin. Like, what is this? I looked at my hand for like probably an hour, but I didn't know time. But I looked at it and it felt very long. It probably was 1 minute, but for me it felt like 1 hour in the trip. So I was just sitting there, like looking at myself, looking at my body, like, what is this? Like, because I was like outside of my body. Because when you take shrooms, you understand the body is just a vessel, and it's all about your soul, your mind, part of the universe. So when I sat in that sofa, I saw like symbols, looked like hieroglyphics, like from Egypt. I saw those type of symbols in my mind. I was like closing my eyes, and I saw all these symbols. I started drawing for some reason. I could draw. I could never draw before. Like this infinite intelligence just came to you, and you could like draw now. You're that creative. You can just draw. Like I could never draw. Like, it just showed me how to draw, and my body did it. Like the mind showed me the way, so my body could do it. That's what shrooms can do. So the infinite intelligence can take over your body and do the action for you. I think that's pretty cool. And then I was walking because I had a beat. Yeah, for some reason I took a beat on that field. I had a big red beat that I took home with me. So when I woke up on the trip, I saw like a big beat, and then I had ketchup on the paper. So I had a beat and ketchup. I'm like, this is gonna be art. When I woke up, I understood this is not art. And then I walked to my refrigerator and saw like, what is this? Like the ketchup and like the food. What is food? It's like everything was like patterned inside of you, and there's like different symbols like were inside of you. So I did that. I did a little bit of drawing, and then everything started just blacking out. Like really, really bad trip. I'm like, I want this to end now. Can I wake up now? So I lay down in my bed. I ate food because I read before like if you eat food, and the trip can end because when you do it on an empty stomach, of course, it's gonna be more. It's gonna feel more the trip. So I started eating like, yeah, this is gonna help stopping the trip. I'm like, things are freaking out now. I'm like, I will never get out of this trip. I'm stuck in this version of me forever. So literally, like 2 weeks, like those 4 to 5 hours felt literally like 2 weeks. I do not kid you. It felt like 2 weeks because time stopped. Time is an illusion. And then you saw, I started eating that food. I just lay down like, I want to wake up. I want to wake up. Like, I got tricked. I got tricked by the shrooms. Like they gave me some bad stuff. I got tricked. Now I'm stuck here forever. So I laid in my bed. Can I wake up? Can I wake up? I put on like a TV show about nature and the birds. They would start jumping. I'm like, oh, when you watch TV, then you can see different things when you're on shrooms. And like the birds started jumping, the faces were jumping back and forth. Like you can see every detail. It's so weird on shrooms. You can see like every single detail you can see so clearly, and like you get like tunnel vision of one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing, and you can see all those things. And what I also did was actually watch at Van Gogh's art. So what I learned from shrooms was also that you understand art way better. You understand art like I never did before, because literally in Van Gogh's painting, you can see everything moving. You can see all the parts. You understand art like I never did before. So Van Gogh's painting were actually moving. The birds that are still, when you watch on Google or you go to his museum, you watch the art, they're still, because you're not on that frequency. But when you take shrooms, you can see what he meant by the art, because the art is moving like it's supposed to be. So you understand the art better on shrooms. And so lastly of my trip, I'm like, I'm never gonna wake up. I watched like that bird documentary or some nature documentary, and suddenly I just woke up like this, boom, like that, boom, and you just like, oh, now I'm back. I'm here just what? Where is my clothes? I'm just like, I don't want clothes. That's fake. That's not part of nature. You want to be as natural as possible when you're on shrooms. And I literally, the first thing I called my parents, like, I love you. And I usually never do that. I'm like, I love you. Because you actually like get emotional because you understand we're all part of nature. You get this spiritual awakening, and you had to face all my traumas. So it was a big experience, of course. So that was my shroom trip. It happened a lot of things in a short time. I do not recommend to take 7 grams on your first ever trip and do it outside and do it alone. No, don't do that. Do it in a safe environment, like your house, like I did, so you're alone and safe, or and with a friend like that has at least some experience and can be there to guide you and help you, and do less than 3 grams the first time so you understand how you will react to the shrooms. Because after 3 grams, you will start hallucinating, and after 5 grams, you will get long and bad trips like I got. It's not bad trip; it's just you facing your fears and your traumas. And if you have never done spiritual work, you never understood part of your soul, you never read about any of this type of stuff, yeah, you will get very, very bad trips because you have to face all of your demons and fears and your ego. You get like an ego death because you understand that you alone doesn't matter. It's only the universe and the energy, the oneness that really matter. So you learn a lot about yourself, about who you are, and facing your fears and trauma. So who do I recommend this to? I recommend it to everyone, at least a small trip, like 1 gram. Everyone should at least try it to understand how it feels. You can learn something about yourself, and that you're part of nature, you're part of something bigger than yourself. But doing 7 grams like me, I do not recommend it for everyone. It's raw only if you really want to go really deep and understand the universe, understand all of those symbols. I have to go in there again because one thing, you do not remember everything from after the trip because it's such an intensive experience. So much things are happening at once, and you're like, you will not be able to remember it, especially when you take that much alone. It's an experience. So start small, be safe, do it with people you trust, and you will have a great time. That was my story. Let me know what you think and if it was interesting. For me, it was a very, very interesting thing, and I haven't done it in some years now. But back then, yeah, really interesting. Perhaps I will do it again, but not that amount if I really don't want to dive deep and understand more about the universe. So, yeah, that was my story. That was my mushroom trip of 7 grams. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. Please drop a comment if you also took shrooms before and what you thought about it. And thank you very much and have a great day.